All right, where does your real strength come from? Some of you muscleheads, you're in the gym and you got biceps growing on biceps because you're so strong. Is that strength? Or maybe your emotional strength. You've done all the work to go back in your life and experience and understand your trauma and then heal from that, move ahead. Is that emotional strength? Is that where your real strength comes from? Or the mental challenges that every morning you say your mantras and you do your things and that leads you to believe the right voices? Where's your real strength come from? And that's a big question, because the reality is the world's telling you your strength comes from inside you, which is true. You're way stronger than you think you are, but it will always feel wanting because the culture's lying to you. Your real strength doesn't come from inside you, but from somewhere else. And I'm going to take the wisdom today in our daily life first from a man who's 120 years old. His name's Moses. At the end of his run leading Israel, he stops and he charges the people of Israel for their next season ahead with this verse in Deuteronomy 31:6. He says, "So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not panic before them. For," here's the key, "for the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you." So the reason he tells them to be strong and courageous is because a personal God goes before them and he won't fail and he won't abandon them. And then 2 verses later, he talks to Joshua, the leader, and tells him the same thing. He says, "Joshua, your personal God's going before you. Be confident in this next season." And so here's the reality, right? When we look at our physical strength, emotional, mental strength, we too often buy into the lie that it's coming from something inside me when Moses says, no, my experience has been it comes from God before you. And before you, but that. I gotta remind you, Moses is a guy who grew up with incredible privilege in Egypt, but made a mistake killing a man, poverty in the desert. And then God calls him to do something bigger than he thought he was able to do, but God empowered him to do it. And he trusted him. And then as he's leading the God's people through the desert, he makes a rash mistake out at a rock and he destroys his opportunity to go into the promised land. And Moses experienced loss and poverty and some of the worst circumstances of life, but he knew that he saw the glory of God. And because God went before him, he could say this when he's 120, that God will give you the courage and the strength, not because of you, but because of what he's doing to lead you ahead. And so student, like mom, career builder or career ender in a transition of a next season, your personal God goes before you. He will not fail you. He will not abandon you. Pray with me. God, we believe these true things because thousands of years ago, you were the same God that you are today. So we follow you, knowing you have gone before us, and that gives us strength and courage, real strength and courage based on you, not based on us. And we trust that today to follow you in your name. Amen.